Between Europe and Asia, economic dialogue, humanitarian missions, multi-vector cooperation and search for compromises in the world arena. How else does Kazakhstan participate in the development of the modern world? For more details, watch Kazakhstan International Vectors. Today in the program, why does the world invest in the automobile transport? How will Kazakhstan spend $3 billion from ADB? How the road construction will save the country. Kazakhstan will become a transit superpower. This was stated by many experts in various international forums. Already today, thanks to its successful geographic location, the country connects Asia and Europe, and the transport corridor Western Europe-Western China is called the engineering project of the century. However, having good roads is not the only factor that Kazakhstan needs for further development. Warehouses are also necessary.
Вообще, данный объект, он является стратегическим в целом для Казахстана.
This facility is strategic for Kazakhstan because it plays a key role for transport system, for logistics of the country, including the Western Europe, Western China transport corridor and transport flows between Russia and Central Asia. So any goods from Europe are coming transit through our territory and can be stored here, obtaining the necessary service, including customs clearance. Virtually any commodity, be it food or not, requires special storage conditions, such as temperature, humidity and some others. The cost of storage directly affects the price of the goods. It turns out that the availability of storage facilities on local territory of any country makes the goods cheaper, which is important for each of its residents. At the same time, there is not enough personal warehouses in Kazakhstan, experts say. The global economic crisis is over and the world trade rose up. Experts estimate that in 2017 the global economic growth was 3% and in 2018 it could reach 4%. At the same time, most of the production today is located in the countries of Southeast Asia and China, and the goods produced there must be somehow exported. In the logistics business, the delivery of goods from this region is a highly demanded business. By the year 2020, about 3,000 container trains along the direction from China to Europe will pass through the territory of Kazakhstan. Experts predict that the cargo traffic will increase to 25 million tons. This is facilitated by the implementation of the Joly and the Silk Road Economic Belt strategic program of Kazakhstan and China. International logistics includes 4 types of transport: rail, road, sea and river and air. Each type has its own pluses and minuses. International rail transportation of goods is 30 to 40% cheaper than the automobile. Aviation transport is the most expensive, weather-dependent and limited in capacity. However, it allows moving cargo anywhere in the world for a maximum of 5 days, so it suits best for perishable good products, urgent and expensive orders. Sea transport is chosen by those who are not severely limited in time. The container path can stretch for 2 months. The delivery process often delays due to the storm or hurricane. Motor transport provides average values for time and cost and is ideal for the delivery of goods within one continent. This is what Kazakhstan is actively developing. construction of new roads and reconstruction of the old ones is the first thing that needs to be done to improve the export and transit potential of Kazakhstan, experts say. The next stage is the development of the logistics infrastructure. Simultaneously, implementation of international standards for production and transport should take place. This, among other things, will increase the competitiveness of domestic carriers.
На сегодняшний день объем инвестиций Азиатского банка развития в транспортный сектор Казахстана составляет порядка 2 миллиардов.
For now, the volume of investments of the Asian Development Bank to the road sector of Kazakhstan amounted to about $2 billion.
1200 километров на таких участках.
These money went to construction and reconstruction of about 1,200 kilometers of roads of the high importance,
международного транзитного коридора Западной Европы,
such as Almaty-Bishkek, Astana-Almaty, Shymkent-Tashkent, and also Aktau-Bainau in the Mangistau region, and some parts of the roads of the Jambal region within the mega project of the Western Europe, Western China International Transit Corridor.
Республики Казахстан в глобальную транспортную инфраструктуру и тем самым повышает транзитный потенциал нашей страны.
The program of the Asian Development Bank, within which the roads are being reconstructed, is aimed at stimulating cooperation between Asian countries. It also increases the transit potential of Kazakhstan, and the results are already there. After the repair, the traveling time, for example, in the Aktau-Bainau section had been halved. This increases the economic activity of the region and helps local residents to provide access to health and educational facilities. We've conducted a survey among the residents of Kazakhstan asking what do they know about the transit potential of the country, and that's what they've answered. The roads outside Almaty are far from perfect. They are narrow and it is quite difficult for more than one car to move there. Kazakhstan has always been the Silk Road of Central Asia. And if we further continue to use our roads properly, to use the lands properly, we will become very successful in terms of logistics and international transportation. And what is even more interesting, if our roads will be good enough, other countries would want to join us in terms of trade, and we will be able to sell our goods not only to the neighboring countries, but even to Europe. The roads to Russia are not so good. We went there through Semey, but the route to Bishkek is very good.
Не знаю, Бишкек более-менее хорошая дорога.
I came here from Atarau by motorcycle, and I can say that the road there was perfect. But as soon as we left Astrakhan behind, the road got worse. Somewhere it was covered by shingle, and somewhere by priming, and a half of it was covered by the asphalt.
Половина не заасфальтирована.
Two-thirds of storage facilities in Kazakhstan are concentrated in Almaty city and Almaty region. There are a lot of logistics companies that need such premises and of course the business. Therefore, warehouses here are of the most different categories. This is a refrigerating zone where the freezing warehouses are situated. This block is about 5,000 square meters. Refrigerators themselves have the size of 105 and 210 square meters. Due to the height, the capacity of one such chamber is 140 pallets, and in the bigger chamber it is 340 pallets. This logistics terminal has been operating for almost last 5 years. Its area is 31 hectares, of which 45,000 square meters are entirely warehouse space, plus container zones and customs infrastructure. It is the largest logistics center in Kazakhstan. It employs more than 300 people. The location is also good, right on the main routes, so that goods that come from Europe and from China can be stored here. This complex has already moved to work in the single window mode, thus setting the trend for the other similar centers. After all, today it is most convenient for customers and therefore it is beneficial for further development. Regarding the development prospects, the territory of this facility allows launching a new project here, which is called the Life Industrial. This project includes construction of lightweight warehouses of Class B. They are designed for goods that do not need special heating or other extra conditions. Of course, the price policy differs from the Class A warehouses. Again, it is convenient that you can clear entry customs of the goods right here, in the logistics complex. The demand for such services in Kazakhstan is growing rapidly. After all, trade at the regional and international levels is also growing. Although certain infrastructural problems still exist, they will be solved here together, attracting the state and international partners. The Asian Development Bank has been actively cooperating with Kazakhstan for a long time. Collaboration is focused mainly on the financial and transport sectors, as well as on partnerships in the field of knowledge. The international organization helps Kazakhstan achieve sustainable growth.
ADB, the Asian Development Bank, has been operating for more than 50 years in Asia and the Pacific, and transport infrastructure have covered almost 1/4 of our total operations. If you just look at investment that we did in the year 2017, which were close to $32 billion, more than $7 billion were in transport infrastructure.
Studies show that despite the finances of ADB and other international institutions, the transport infrastructure still needs investment. Analysts of the Institute of the Asian Development Bank have even estimated the exact figure. The industry will require no less than $2.5 billion until 2030. Kazakhstan participates in a specific ADB program called Central Asian Regional Economic Cooperation, or CAREC.
We started this program in the year 2001, and over the past 16 years or so, large investment share has been dedicated to developing infrastructure connectivity. We also been supporting the strengthening of trade facilitation measures, and we can proudly say that because of CAREC investment in transport infrastructure today, a lot of savings have been generated in the region in terms of vehicle cost, maintenance, and also in terms of reducing travel time, as well as facilitating cross-border across countries in Central Asia.
In 2017, the Asian Development Bank and Kazakhstan adopted a new partnership strategy, which is based on 3 directions. This is a diversification of the economy, promoting inclusive growth and sustainable development. For the purpose defined by the partnership program, until 2021, the country will receive an additional $3 billion. This money will be directed mainly to the development of economic corridors, a new initiative that is relevant for the whole Central Asia. Apart from creation of infrastructure, ADB will continue to work with the government of Kazakhstan to improve and introduce the concept of economic corridors. This initiative now prevails along the Almaty-Bishkek route, which will result in the development of such sectors as tourism, health and education. The freight turnover of world motor transport annually increases by 5 to 7%. In general, the world fleet of trucks, only for the period from 1980 to 2010, increased by 50%, and the fleet of passenger cars by 35%. Most of the vehicles belong to the developed countries of Europe and North America, as well as the bulk of the road network with hard surface. According to the latest data, the total length of highways with improved quality characteristics in the world exceeds 25 million kilometers. Each year they transport more than 20 billion tons of cargo. At the same time, more than 600 million automobile vehicles operate on the international market. International financial institutions finance those roads that have transit potential and have exits to China or the CIS countries. Currently, projects are being implemented which are financed by the Asian Development Bank, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and the Bank of China. These organizations are seriously concerned about the quality of roads. Together with the Roads Committee of the Ministry of Investment and Development of Kazakhstan, ADB plans to introduce a conceptually new approach to the maintenance and operation of highways. The example is the Kostanay region. This contract road maintenance is result-oriented and will allow extending the life cycle of roads, maintaining their condition at a good and even excellent level for a certain period. However, it is also required to build and reconstruct the roads of Republican and local significance. In this case, the state invests its own funds or is looking for investors. Over the past 10 years, Kazakhstan has invested up to $30 billion in the development of transport infrastructure, logistics assets and competencies. During this period, more than 2,000 kilometers of railways were built, 6,500 kilometers of motor roads were reconstructed, port capacities were increased in the Caspian Sea, and the runways at 15 airports were reconstructed. For today, the main state program is the Initiative of Infrastructural Development for 2015-2019. This program is aimed at developing the transit potential of our country. First of all, a set of measures for the reconstruction of highways of national importance is carried out. To date, the road Astana-Karaganda has already been reconstructed. The reconstruction of the Astana-Pavlodar highway, as well as other roads that have exits to the border regions, for example, Uralsk-Kamenka, is underway. Experts promise that due to the increase in the transit flow, the well-being of the population will also grow. First of all, small and medium-sized business will benefit, because service objects will be opened. This means additional working places. Transit will also increase and truckers will stop at the camping sites. The life of the region will develop due to the automobile traffic flow. Till the year 2020, we plan to increase the revenue from transit to 5 billion tenge. Companies that plan to engage in logistics and provide other services to international business should increase their level of competence in a shortest time to move to international certification systems. For example, to be able to provide a cold chain, the principle that guarantees the safety and high quality of food and pharmaceutical products. We believe that this is very promising. There is an international agency of representatives of USAID and other international organizations who are very interested in ensuring that in the region Central Asia, as well as in Kazakhstan in particular, the cold supply chain meets international standards. Because both pharmaceutical products and food production is very important for the life of any state, for the population, so that we have healthy people and healthy food. Returning to the topic of Kazakhstan as a World Trade Center, it should be noted that the transport corridor Western Europe-Western China is not yet operating at a full capacity. The road has already been completed on the territory of China and Kazakhstan. and now construction is being carried out on the territory of Russia. Today the highway, or rather the part that already functions, brings our country the dividends amounting to 100 billion tenge per year, and the volume of transit has increased more than twofold. The active development of road infrastructure in Kazakhstan helped the country to rise in international ratings. Over the past 6 years, the country's position on the Quality of Infrastructure Index in the Global Competitiveness Index of the World Economic Forum has improved by 14 points. Further development of this industry in partnership with international organizations will allow the Republic to further build trade and economic relations through improving the quality of transport infrastructure.